Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I am exhausted again this week, so I'm going to aim for a 30 to 35 minute Q&A, but we all know that, well, aiming for it doesn't mean I'm going to get it, as last week would show. But I want to get quickly into the Q&A, so I got a couple of announcements to do. For one, as a reminder, we do now have a VOD channel where all of my Twitch playthroughs will be uploaded to YouTube, as to not flood the main channel. If you're someone who's always wondering what I'm thinking of a game when I've played it, you're wondering what I thought of Xenoblade and what my playthrough looked like, or my Final Fantasy count-up that I'm doing on Twitch, that's going to be the place to just watch back the Twitch streams of me playing those games. They're going to have alerts, they're going to have me talking to chat, but they can be decent noise in the background. So be sure to subscribe to that channel if that's something that interests you. Also, my Twitch stream is actually sponsored by HelloFresh for the rest of this month. You guys know I've spoken about HelloFresh a bunch on the YouTube channel, and they didn't sponsor anything for YouTube. But I figure while I have it, I might as well shout it out as well. HelloFresh is a cooking service that I've been using where they basically ship you the ingredients for recipes, then you cook the recipes, and then they do that every week. I cook for me and my girlfriend 3 times a week with that, on top of cooking other things after that. But I started cooking other things after that, after I had started doing HelloFresh for a while. Just kind of got the ball rolling on all of that. So if you want to support the channel and you're interested in trying one of those services out and you're in the US, then I'll include a link in the description, but I don't have any sponsored YouTube content from them. It's just that I've used them for a couple of years already. So if I'm sponsored by them, I might as well put it on my other channels, might as well just do that. So with that though, let's get in. Oh, and thank you to our sponsors on Patreon. Can't forget them because they've been around a lot longer than all that other stuff that I just said. Thank you to them. They don't have to support. All my content's available for free here on YouTube, but they choose to anyway. So thank you to all of our patrons over on Patreon. With that, let's get into the Q&A and see how long the video actually ends up being. Oh boy, this first one's a lengthy one. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey Haps, how goes? It goes. I got a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I'm doing okay. My static stopped playing recently because most of the players decided to either get back into WoW or are stuck in Lost Ark, and as a result, we never cleared the current raid tier. I got Party Finder exists, and I'm nervous about getting into practice groups for P4S this late in the tier. I know the advice here would be to just dive in. You're correct. Question is more what happens next. I want to keep playing the game, but I've always had the same group of friends in my MMOs. As corny as it may sound, I'm feeling a bit lost. Are there resources to find FCs and statics? So there probably are. I've always had the advantage of being somebody who, my stream is where anyone I want to hang out with will be, or I can always find something because, through my stream, I can just reach out through the grapevine. I'm sure there's probably a social Reddit or a recruitment for free companies and, for free companies and statics, for sure. At the very least for statics, there's the recruitment Reddit, there's the recruitment Discord. There are individual Discords for data centers looking for groups, even just for pugging, there's Discords instead of going directly into Party Finder. Now, you're going to have to research those to find your data centers one. But yeah, the Final Fantasy XIV recruitment Reddit is largely a success story for most people I know that use it. Sounds like Ivy needs to be let out of my office after this question is done, by the way. I can hear her at the door pawing to get out. She must have jumped behind me in the middle of the video. But honestly, yeah, pugging is fine. You're going to run into people who you don't want to pug with again, and you'll probably have to put up with them quite a bit. But that's just kind of how it is, it's just you don't know who you're going to get. So, but all those things exist. So you just have to do a quick search for your individual data center, and you should find results for all those things I just said. Of course, I let her out, and now in classic cat fashion, I can hear her clawing at the other side of the door to get back in. Go figure. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, how's it going? Hi, it's going good. Hopefully the same for you. How were the other stars affected by the Sun Ring, if at all? The other stars. Oh, so this is actually a question that hasn't been 100% answered. It's currently believed that essentially the entire planet of Aetheris is it's stuck in a pocket dimension, or all of the other shards, I should say, are stuck in a pocket dimension, with the source being kind of the epicenter of the pocket dimension. But this has been something that hasn't been completely confirmed, and they're kind of leaving it open in case they want to explore that in the future. So there is no solid answer to this. All we know is that outer space exists. It doesn't seem like the rest of outer space was sundered, so the most logical conclusion is what I've just described. So we'll find out, hopefully, at some point in the future. But for now, it just looks like only Aetheris is sundered in that little pocket dimension. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps, hope everything is going well for you and your channel. Everything's going great. Thanks. I hope everything's going well for you, too. Got a couple of questions for you if you're up to it. Sure. With the news that Dragoon and Astro, I don't know why. I saw Dragoon and Astro and I thought Dragon Age. I don't know why. I just got there with the news that came out recently. Are getting an overhaul. Do you think this solidifies the idea that we may end up with one brand new job instead of the usual two? No, it doesn't, because we've gotten plenty of reworks in past expansions. We've had jobs that feel brand new and jobs that are kind of like half new, and we've had mixes and matches of those throughout expansions, and that hasn't meant we've gotten less. Heavensward, they've admitted, was just them overdoing it. But here's the thing. My prediction is actually that we go down to one job, if not in 7.0, in 8.0. So it happening in 7.0 would be completely within my expectation. And I think that given what they've already confirmed, plus all the other job changes we'll have, it's not like no other job is going to get adjustments or new things. Everything will. This would be the time to start expecting it at the very least. And as for the second question, let me make sure it's actually on screen. Is there a game you really want to play on stream but afraid of not getting a whole lot of views? There's tons of games that end up in those types of categories. I'm into all sorts of genre of game, and a lot of the times they just don't cut it. Even Devil May Cry, a franchise that I love, and I stream Devil May Cry 5, doesn't do particularly well. Unless it's like there's a brand new title and there's a lot of people very like, interested in it because of the recency of it. I would love to play those more. But like a Souls game, you list Elden Ring. No, I stream so much Elden Ring. My VOD channel is going to start having uploads of my Elden Ring randomizer runs. I did like 3 runs in like a week and a half. Not even. I think it was even less than that. Because I just love Elden Ring. And of course, I played through, when it first came out, I played through all that and even did New Game Plus in a day. And it was great. But there are definitely titles. Even indie RPG titles can sometimes be a little rough because people don't have interest in it if it's not like a major IP. But I do still try to work those in now and again. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps, how's it going? I'm actually going to move this a little closer. Hopefully it doesn't make any sounds. Sorry. I was just wondering if you had any plans to bring on any 14 lore experts State of Realm. Yes. Pyro is going to be on this upcoming State of the Realm. And I've already spoken to Moose. I'm not going to have Moose on this Friday. We're going to save Moose for patch 6.2. But yes, I have spoken to both of them, and they are both planned guests for State of the Realm in the near future, so please look forward to it. I've also spoken to Mr. Byrne, who is a lore enthusiast. He's not as deep into the lore as, like, the really, really big lore people are, but he's big on game shows, and I would love to bring Eorzivia back and continue it in some capacity, but I also know it's incredibly demanding of people, and State of the Realm is largely a for-fun product that then goes on my channel, and I am the one who largely reaps the benefits. So if I do something like that, I need to make sure that it's either completely voluntary, as in they're okay doing it, or honestly that I cut them a little bit of cut them a check essentially and make sure that their time and efforts are well compensated. It has to be one or the other. I'm not going to try to screw anyone over. But yes, we do have plans for lore stuff in the near future. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Happy. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. So the picture of this, it's the final expansion. The big bad is revealed to be none other than Godbert. How completely and utterly fucked are we? You don't even know. You don't even know. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Greetings, Sir Happy. Hello. I have a question in honor of your Final Fantasy count-up. Sure. Which mainline Final Fantasy game do you think has the best soundtrack? That is tough because it's not like there's one style across all of them. And I think there's times where like picking 11 or 14 is cheating because they constantly get new additions to their OSTs. I don't know. That's really, really tough because Final Fantasy 13, give it as much hardship as you will, the soundtrack to that game is fantastic. One of my favorites without a doubt. I think 12 may be a little too orchestral, a little too it's a lot more like a soundtrack. It's a lot less like an OST and a lot more like a score, Final Fantasy 12's. And you get that from time and time again with the different I guess games in the franchise, but man, it's tough. 13 has a really good soundtrack. 8, fantastic. I mean, Man with the Machine Gun is easily one of my top tracks across the entire franchise. But then you've got 5 as Battle with Big Bridge, but you've got all the remixes to it. I don't know. It's tough. 13's definitely up there. 8's definitely up there. Even 5 and 6, super up there. And then, of course, the MMOs are just stacked. So those are just a few examples of ones I really like at the very least. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps, hope you're doing well. Same to you. I was hoping you could shine some light on how this gear progression works between patches. If there's anything I can or should do prior to 6.2. No, prior to 6.2, all you could possibly do is have as close to best in slot, for patch 6.0 and 6.1 as you could, which is going to be Savage and upgraded Tome Gear. I mean, maybe some jobs have like a piece here or there that isn't one of those two things, but most of the time it's one of those two things. But right when the patch drops, there's going to be new crafted gear that's going to be 10 item levels higher. There's going to be new extreme trial gear, which is going to be 15 item levels higher it'll be 10 item levels higher than the ultimate and final Savage weapon. So it'll be 615, without a doubt. And then that's really the stuff you're going to be looking at. And then you'll have new tomes to gather, and all that stuff will be better than your current stuff. But right now, it's Savage and upgraded Tome Gear. So however you want to upgrade your Tome Gear, go ahead. But other than that, you need stuff from Savage or the weapon from Ultimate. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps, hope you're doing all right. You're doing all right? Good, because I'm doing all right. I have a lore-related question, something I might have overlooked during my playthrough. What happened to the other members of the Convocation of 14 that we didn't interact with directly? We've interacted with Lahabrea, Logrif, Mitron, Nabrialis, Aegiorman, of course, Emmett Selk, Fandaniel, Lidibus, and Azim. Well, sort of. What happened to the other 5? Altima, Pastorot, Halmara, Didilfon. So, Emerolith, I think there's an answer for. I think we know that Emerolith was killed. I don't remember the other 4, though. There might be an answer, but the only one I feel like we know, I think someone correct me in the chat, but Emerolith died when Eureka was sunk, correct? When Galuf tried to sink Eureka to stop it from being let loose. I think that's a Merilith or Merilolth that died there. But the other ones I don't remember. It's really tough to keep track of all that stuff. I'm sure the comment section will have something to say about that. So if you read this week's Q&A and scroll down, you'll probably find an answer. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Greetings, Mr. Happy. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. I hope you and the family are having a wonderful day. Yeah, it's been a kind of chill day. I know I worked all day, but thank you for putting your streams up on YouTube. It's been a great pleasure watching your count-up series since I have trouble catching your streams. No problem. Just be sure to keep checking them out and enjoying them. My question is simply if you'd be willing to give the Legend of Heroes Trials of series a proper go. So the only reason I haven't is because I tried playing first chapter, Trails in the Sky first chapter, and quite frankly, I found it super boring. I thought the pacing was way off. The characters started off kind of strong, but then tapered off really, really hard throughout the entire middle. And the pacing was just really, really off. And that's a quick way to get me to quit an RPG. There is a chance of returning to it at some point in the future. I know for a fact I'll be playing first chapter again. Someone's already incentivized me to do so over on Twitch. Whether or not that sees it through to completion, I won't commit all the way to yet unless I am persuaded in some capacity. I have nothing against the games. I'm sure everyone tells me the same thing, that first chapter is really slow. I even have people tell me to skip first and second chapter and go right to Cold Steel because the pacing is so much better. But then I have people who are just like so against that idea. Like even if you were to watch it on YouTube, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's a classic, long running franchise. People trying to convince you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. It's the whole thing. It's a little exhausting, but I won't say no, but whether or not I do is currently to be determined. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hello, hiya, and well met, Mr. Happy. Hey, same to you. Hope the day is finding you well. Doing all right, thanks. You mentioned before developers have stated Dragoon has reached a breaking point. Remember hearing that as well, but I'm having trouble sourcing the statement. It would have been live letter. It's either live letter 69, nice, or live letter 70. It's one of the two. It's not an interview or an article. I'm certain that it's one of those two live letters, but I'd have to go find the exact statement. Not to mention, I technically don't have to do that. In live letter 71, they specifically mentioned that they had previously mentioned that Dragoon. I guess they technically don't say that Dragoon had reached a breaking point, but they do say that prior statements about Dragoon and Astro that we were going to rework them, which are the statements where they say these things. They reference them without stating exactly what they had said. So they're acknowledging that they have said these things already in live letter 71, but I'm certain it's 69 or 70. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey man, hi. Bit of a dumb question. I'll be the judge of that. How many week 1 raiders are week 1 because of skill, and how many are week 1 because of time? I don't think that's a dumb question at all, actually. Say the 4th fight of the tier had a 12-hour time limit. Once you hit 12, that's it. Can't enter till next week. Oh, they're like Algalon? Oh, God. Algalon was, I think, 2 hours? Somebody who played during Wrath can correct me. How many people still clear week 1? At most 1 group. almost no group clears in 12 hours. I don't even think that's a real... I understand your point of using 12 hours as kind of just like a baseline, but that's not a good baseline. Realistically, I'd say 48 hours would probably be the more accurate one, because depends, like the first tier is normally like 14 to 18 hours. The second tier is normally like 20 to 26. And the third tier is like 22 to like 32 in terms of like total hours from when the patch goes up. We've had the occasional tier. I think Final Omega took a good bit longer than that because of some issues with the translations of the tooltips, leading to some odd strats that weren't intended, or at least, you know, before they realized what they were doing wrong and then being able to fix it. So and then in that case, probably like 6 groups. And I would say that even then, so week 1 because of skill, week 1 because of time. You know, initially the question without any sort of elaboration, I'd say is a pretty solid mix. Everyone who does beat it week 1 has enough skill to beat it. That is a fact. But the people who are legitimately racing to be the first to kill it are the ones that are happening because of the absolute highest skill. When that skill could be a soft skill like being able to manage your raid members, or it could be a skill like being able to dissect a mechanic. Whereas most people who do week 1 are just committing the time and know that they are good enough to get it done in that time. And those are largely the groups that you'll see clear it on like the late second day, third day, and onward. So it's still a really high number, but not with this 12-hour example. I think if you were to go 12 hours, it would be either be 0 or 1, you know, which is the world first group at best. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, you doing all right? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. I was looking at the preview picture for Abyssos. Notice there's something that looks like a boss arena, like the ones from Alexander or Coil. If it is a boss arena, what do you think they do with that for the raid tier? I mean, the only picture we've seen is the picture of the spider area, which is just like any other boss arena. It didn't look any different, but I don't really know how to answer it. I mean, every fight has a boss arena, so I don't really know how to answer this. There's a boss there. That's it. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi. Hey, with the new data center travel implementation, I was hoping it would include a data center party finder. There was never going to be a data center party finder. In fact, I can tell you right now, there will never be a data center party finder. Player in Ellentill with the sundering of OCE players and another from the world distribution, it feels a little bit more empty with lesser PF listings. Even if it's the late afternoon, I'm able to queue for a duty roulette and have it pop in a few minutes. Now it takes 30 minutes even if I'm a tank. I don't know what server data center you're on, because that doesn't sound right to me. When do you think they'll implement? There won't be a data center party finder. It won't happen. They would need to completely restructure the entire physical data center from the bottom up, because right now they are all different logical data centers, all connected to each other via, well, the game, essentially the client, the servers. But the servers are all separate. They have to build communications for all of them. In order to do a data center party finder, they would have to actually do mega servers. They would have to connect all the logical data centers and merge them into one giant logical data center. And that's probably never going to happen, because the whole reason they're separating them is to try and limit login issues and issues related to mass logins, you know, essentially us DDoSing the login servers and the game servers and the instant servers and stuff. So it's never going to happen. I can't say never. I'm not the one working on the game. There is nothing to indicate it would ever happen, given the way they've approached their server structure up to this point and are continuing to do so for the next year. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, hello, hi there. Hey, hi. I don't know where to go with that. Would you consider making a lore video or explanation of who the 4 fiends are in Final Fantasy IV? Some interesting trivia about them. You seem to particularly excited about their inclusion. I'd considered this already. It actually isn't as long of a video as it seems, unless I take their core gameplay mechanic from 4 and each try to like predict mechanics around those things, which is, I think, a little bit of a reach. It's fun to do, but it's definitely a little bit of a reach. But I have considered this. Sorry, there's something on my desk. I was looking down like I need to throw this in. There we go, in the little trash bin over here. Yeah, I've already considered it, and the answer is a maybe, just because I think there are a lot of people who are wondering the same thing. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Good morning to you, Mr. Happy. I have one question that I hope you have the answer to. Shadowbringer spoilers. I have a feeling that it's Shadowbringer spoilers. At this point, if you're here, it's like, odds are you already know. Apart from the playable races, we have Beast Tribe, well, tribal quests now. Races like Sahagins, Amaljic, Kobold, Memel, Centaurs, etc. Species that are deemed sentient with intelligence but not known to be part of a tribe. We know the playable races are Sundered Souls of the Ancients, but does the same apply to the others? To some, it probably does. To others, it probably doesn't. A good example of this would be the Ixal. The Ixal are actually science creations, for example. So while they've been kind of infused, they probably have been infused with elements of an ancient soul in order to be given their intelligence and their sentience. Whereas something like the Sahagins and the Amalja, we actually see sundered versions of them on other worlds, and they aren't a result of a race creating them like we had on the source. We also have an explicit example of the fact that, yes, these races must in some way come from the ancients because they are able to be blessed with the echo. Back in patch 2.1, a Sahagin was given the gift of the echo, which should realistically only be possible if they are a piece of a sundered soul of an Ascian. Now, we don't know necessarily the entire breakup of the souls of all the creatures on Etheirys. We really only know about the ancients, the things in Elpis, and what we're learning about in Pandemonium. So there are questions of whether or not these are from ancients or if there were other creatures on the planet, which seems very likely, that held enough sentience to be able to manifest ether in a similar way, but maybe not to the specifications that the ancients could. That is a lot of speculation based on just what we know, but that's about all we can 100% determine. Now, of course, because I don't catch every single detail, there's a chance I've missed something about this exact topic. And if that's the case, the comment section will correct me. So, should get the answer either way. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, hello, hi, hey. It's the second time I have to do that. Hope you're doing well. My question is about the absolute state of Ultimate Party Finder. Is the pool of players always this? Not great. Sorry, that's funny. I apologize. That's funny. I hit an absolute wall at 10 Strike Trio due to 99% of 10 Strike parties and prior being nail white groups. So I was wondering if it ever gets any better. So I guess it depends on the data center. Primal has a really, really good Ultimate Party Finder kind of reputation. But here's the thing. Earlier in this very video, I think I mentioned a Discord for recruitment. There's an Ultimate recruitment one as well. I think UPR is the Primal one. I'm not really sure what the Ether one is. Maybe it's UAR. I'm not sure. But those tend to have party finders that are kind of put together with a more specialized group of people, and you tend to find better success there. Now, it's possible to find those party finders in your actual party finder, but even then, still, sometimes you can join with a group of people who have all cleared the fight, and it just doesn't go well. Sometimes that just happens, so it can be a really big struggle to get through, but that would be my recommendation, to try to find your data center's party finder Discord for Ultimate, and then try to see if you can find a group from there. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, yo, Happy. Hi. Quick question about World Prog. Sure, we cleared week 1 last year. Now the time I want to go one further and join the race. My question is, what are the main differences, and do you have any tips? So I haven't been in the hardcore World First race for quite some time. I am a clear as quick as possible, normally day 2 or 3 kind of mentality. It's better for me. It's something where a lot more people are willing to stream that kind of prog, it feels like, than the hardcore World First groups do. So for me, that's been kind of the nice place. But my past experience with it is there's a lot of synergy that needs to exist. People need to kind of be able to just tell what other people are going to do without it needing to be constantly communicated. Now, communication is fine, great, you should be doing it. But being able to know, like, hey, I'm always, when there's like a stack spread mechanic, I'm always northwest. I'm always paired with this person. And then we will always move clockwise as long as the mechanic allows it, unless we say we need to do something else. Or those little things that you just get and you don't need to communicate because you've already predetermined them make a huge difference in the day 1 and week 1 prog as a whole, and for the world race. Now, this next race is going to be a lot different, so I'm a little hesitant to give you too much advice. Normally, it becomes how quickly can you get through normal, how well can you absorb the mechanics you see in normal and quickly apply them to savage mechanics. How quickly can you get your crafted gear? Do you have crafters? Do you have pots? Do you have food? Do you need to stop to do tomes? Is your group planning to stop and do the extreme trial because you think you need the weapon? all of these things factor in. Those will not be a factor this time. You'll have a week to study normal. All the crafted gear they said would be available the week before. Tomestones, you'll very likely have an extra 630 weapon to give to your best DPS, because you'll get the upgrade from the second encounter and then the second upgrade from the third encounter. And it's only 500 tomes for a weapon now. So you can have like your ninja with a 630 weapon. And we also know they are not rebalancing this tier around that fact, because they're just trying to see what the 1 week delay looks like in the scheme of the game without making mass adjustments around that being the case. This might be the easiest tier for anyone who's never world prog before to feel like they stand a serious chance. Now, it's still going to be a matter of skill. It's still going to be a matter of figuring out mechanics. Do you have people who are willing to put in those extra hours, even if you need to get some sleep? Does the team have the willingness to not take tons of massive breaks, tons of little breaks here and there? Make sure everyone has a good eating schedule, a good sleep schedule the night before. It is about being healthy enough to sprint and then recover afterwards. That is how you win. And you still need to have all those other pieces in place. So my only thing is best of luck. Take everything I've just told you and try to apply it as best as possible, or see if you can even apply it. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Happy. As a Vivid mount collector, hi, by the way. I was looking at the mounts I did not own and noticed one of the less rare ones I had left was the Parade Chocobo with 3,000 commendations. I've been playing tanks since the beginning of Shadowbringer, still sitting at 850. Do you have any tips or tricks for farming? Guild tests. Guild tests. It's so boring, but guild tests. And you also just need to be doing a ton of dungeons and honestly, another one is 24 mans. It doesn't always work, but 24 mans, at the very least, you have 7 chances to get a commendation. And if you're on a healer or a tank and you do well, there's a good chance you get at least 3 or 4. So I would definitely step your game up in 24 mans if you find yourself kind of just lazily getting through them. But guild tests are one of the very first 2 guild tests are the things people farm for commendations. All right, I'm about 30 minutes in, a little bit less once I cut out the dead air, but I'm starting to get this cough. I'm sure you've heard it in a few of them. I've been getting this kind of like in the evenings as of late. So, and kind of like, it's like at noon and at like 9 p.m. And it's like 8:24 right now, so it's starting to kick up. So I'm going to lightning round through the rest, and it's going to be as much of a lightning round as possible, which means this video is still about 20 minutes to go. So this one here with all the job actions now, some seem kind of pointless. Do you think with Dragoon and Astro, rework experience will influence other skills like some that I mentioned to get the Requiescat treatment? Yeah, I think Requiescat's a good example of something we'll see a lot more. I thought we were going to see it for Machinist, just a charge system in general. We see it with Inner Release, we see it with Delirium, we see it with Requiescat. Yeah, I think I've been saying it for a while. That's probably going to be a gold standard for a lot of adjustments going forward. How would you feel if they were, for PvP, if they were given specific titles and a currency that allowed them to purchase older feast rewards? No, I think I'm still a fan of keep the old feast rewards separate. I think they need to rework all of competitive PvPs. Well, not even rework, but they need to add things to all of the competitive ranks in seasonal PvP and not just the top 100. But I think the top 100 in the first place should get something that is more grand than the rest. I've said give it a mount that has like the banner of the rank on like their shoulder or like a medal around their neck or something that visibly indicates that you ended in a certain rank in a specific season. Similar to what we have with the plates, but, you know, something that's more exciting to obtain and grind and improve for. So those are the things I think they should do, but probably not. I still think the old feast reward should remain exclusive to the very few people who have them, because they were willing to put up with PvP way back when. They deserve it. Have you played the Dot Hack? I played Dot Hack GU's first of the 4 games, and I hated it. I really didn't like it. Listen, if I played it during the PS2 era, I probably would have liked it. Playing it now, it is so clunky and not interesting. And the whole MMO, the thing is, it's a single player game that puts MMO aspects, but it puts like the most tedious MMO and online aspects in a game, and it's not fun to navigate. I started in Stormblood, and this was the first Savage clear. I cleared P2S, and I'm a hair away from clearing P3. How have the second and third tiers compared to the first? They're about 15% harder, but this coming second tier, like I mentioned earlier, will be the easiest second tier we've probably ever had. So this one should be a pretty comfy adjustment for you. And then the third tier should spike up about 15%, I'd imagine. This one's with the upcoming raid, not too far off. What type of mechanics do you wish to see more of? I never wish for specific mechanics, because then I kind of already know, like, then it comes and I'm like, okay, I already kind of envisioned this. I know what to do. It's not as exciting to learn. So for me, I don't really think of that. You know, I don't really mind stack spread. I don't really mind, you know, groups of 4 or 3-3-2 groups, or, you know, half the room's cut off and then another half of the room is cut off, so there's only a quarter of the room, or it's all those things. We always get some variant of something we've seen before. So as long as it is a fun and cohesively designed encounter, I'm not too particular about that. Someone wanted to hear my opinion of introducing the LB3 sooner in the MSQ. Yeah, so you actually... No, so LB3 you actually get as part of Porta Decumana now, the Ultima Weapon rework. It's a 4-man dungeon, and you get an LB3 from it. Now, I will say this. It seems you're talking about the tank LB3 and the healer LB3. Tank LB3 probably would be a better idea sooner. I would like to see a solo instance. Maybe they could have done this with La Habrea, but I would like to see them give you your LB3 and then give you a mechanic specific to your role to encourage you to use it, and then have the text, you know, you must break your limits to survive or whatever. I think they could have done that in La Habrea, and I think they should probably do it in something not too far after that, so that's somewhere in 2.0 or early 3.0, probably early 3.0 when they get up to, or even like the level 60, I should say, get around to whatever they're going to do for that eventually. But yeah, I agree. They should do it sooner rather than later. And then, but other than that, other than like moving it to like a duty action or anything, no, I just think it should be a regular LB3. Then we have, has food become nothing burger for casual play? Yeah, a lot of people don't like using it. I still use it in most everything. I have so much extra food. Sometimes I forget to use it for the 3% while I'm leveling something. But yeah, if you have food, food's good. It's not like there's no reason not to have food. People are just lazy. You know, and sometimes even the people who like tout it are lazy. Like it happens to me with leveling, like I said. So it just happens. You've been talking about PvP seasonal rewards a lot lately. Why haven't they been utilizing wolf collars for this exact purpose? Because they changed it. The wolf collars now you can just like buy with trophy crystals, and they wanted to make all of those old rewards accessible, so they had a large pool of rewards available for PvP's rework. Makes a lot of sense, but I think they do need a system that worked like wolf collars before going forward after season 2. So they just wanted to have a large pool of rewards, it seemed, and that was the easiest way to do it. Whole gearing system heard 6.2 is different. It's just that we get the gear before the raid comes out in 6.2. Other than that, it's completely identical. It's just the amount of gear you can have by the time the raid comes out is 1 week more than we would normally have. But it's otherwise the same. If you were pentamelding gear for the raid before, you're probably still going to do it now. You'll just have a whole week to do it instead of like rushing to do it in the middle of the raid tier, like between pulls. And that's what we've classically had to do. But that's all that's changed. You just have a week extra to have everything in place, and that is all that has changed. But I will say crafted weapons you are less likely to use. Some people are probably going to buy crafted weapons to beat the extreme trial more easily. And that's kind of it. And that's not too abnormal. They're not really that expensive anyway, you know, especially not with the way this is working now. But yeah, if you can get the EX trial weapon without buying a crafted weapon, go ahead. If you're going to get like tome legs on the second week, then go ahead. You know, don't buy the legs, don't pentamel the legs. But that's it. That's the only decision making you're making, is you're looking at what'll happen on your second week when you start raiding and what your goals are for that. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. Let's see. What is this one? Starting to get into Ultimate. It's been a slow process in the Party Finder. Is there any way to improve this aspects for groups? Oh, so the question I answered earlier about Ultimate groups that were kind of struggling with the you know, Reddit Discord and the individual server Ultimate Discords. Yeah, all of that. It's same thing. And that you should have a mildly better success. At least mildly better success. Let's see. This one's a pretty lore deep question. I might need to skip this one. Cubbles, your question right here. Let's see. Do you think La Habrea was being part of Zodiark's Architect added the clause? Let's see. Yeah, see, this is something that's kind of tough to lightning around. So, and I also actually reading it, I don't really have an answer. I think it was just rushing to get it done at most, and that's just kind of how it turned out. So it's not a real answer. I apologize, Cubbles. It's just yeah, trying to get through the lightning round before my cough takes over. Howdy. It sounds like I'm faking the cough, but I actually have a cough. I mean it. Howdy, Mr. Happy. Best wishes to you and yours. Think I did that right? I'd say you did. Considered Black Mage a possible target for reworks? Yeah, I don't want them to, but it's just, I look at it and I go, what else are they going to add? It's the same with Dragoon. Like, it's like the people who play it like it, right? If I could say like one less time, that would be cool. The people who play it, they enjoy it, but it has to go someplace. They have said that enough. They even said that Black Mage almost got reworked in Endwalker, I think. I'm almost certain Yoshi P said they were afraid they were going to have to rework it. I don't even know what they could tinker with. Honestly, I feel like you have to tear it down and do it over again to do anything. Because it's so perfect right now that the next time they do anything, it's likely to be bloat or not very interesting, which I think they just end up reworking it because they just need to make something exciting for it. I don't know what else they're going to do. Why exactly is black magic and black mage is frowned upon? It's explained in the Thaumaturge Guild and in the Black Mage quest. So one big reason for Black Mages in particular, it was banned because the magic was considered so powerful that people who tried to learn it would spontaneously combust, I think, upon touching the Black Mage Soul Crystal. So it's like people are like, oh, I'm going to learn how to be a Black Mage, touch a crystal, literally explode. So it was considered too dangerous, if memory serves. That was the main reason. Let's see. 3-time question. Your rewards to HQ Lawful hug. Will you ever travel to Australia? I have a lot of friends in Australia who really, really would like me to visit. I'm not going to commit to anything like that anytime soon. I'm not. Australia is a scary place. I have a lot of phobias involving bugs, involving spiders. Now they're not major. Like I can still raid with a spider, but like if I saw a spider on the wall right now, it would dominate my attention until it's dead. Basically, I can't even like let them live peacefully. It's just a constant like heartbeat in my chest, and I was raised that way. Like my family made me afraid because I was allergic to bees. But even like I know that that's not all Australia is, but it absolutely is one of those things that makes me not rush to get on a plane to go to Australia. Let's see. Previous tier was the first time in Savage. I want to make sure I'm contributing to my group. Is there any item level stat checks I need to get for 6.2? If it's for crafters, I have no idea. I don't craft anything. I am the worst person to ask about that. I have no insight whatsoever. I don't know how many different ways I can say I'm useless, but I'm sure I'll figure out more. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Happy. How you doing? Quick question. Do you know patch 6.2 date? How do you know the patch 6.2 date from the Moogle event? So the Moogle event, all but a single time, has been 28 days before the patch. So we use that as sort of our determining factor. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always the chance that it doesn't go that way. There's always a chance that it just completely changes. But there's no reason for us to think that ahead of time. We should assume that if it's happening, let's say, I forget, I think it would need to be the last week of July, meaning the patch would be on August 23rd, or it would need to be the first week of August, meaning the patch would be on August 30th. There's no reason to think that those two possibilities aren't exactly what's going to happen, one of the two. So maybe this proves that they're going to do something completely different because of the patch schedule change. Entirely possible. But that's how we know as of our past examples. And until we're proven that that's not the case, we're going to continue to believe that's going to be the case. I think this is the last question here. After the delay for Forspoken, I was thinking of episode Duskai and how it was bundled with Type 0. Do you think they'll do the same with 16? No, I don't think they'll bundle a demo with 16 with Forspoken. I think that was a mistake, the Type 0 episode Duskai thing with Final Fantasy 15. And I think there's a reason we haven't seen them pair a demo with a game since then. I think that's a real big relic of old Square Enix. I think also of like Dragon Quest VIII having Final Fantasy XII's demo, which is, I think, was a gimmick to get people to buy Dragon Quest VIII because Dragon Quest wasn't super popular in the West. But if they paired Final Fantasy with it, they could almost ensure that people would try it out. I'm not going to lie. I think it worked. Dragon Quest has been huge, especially in recent years. Right before 11 and since 11, it's had a much stronger presence in the West. Still amongst hardcore RPG fanatics, but still all the same. I don't think they're going to do that, though. No, I think if they're going to do a demo for 16, it's just going to be on the PlayStation Store. But that's the last question, at least the last question that I saw that's on here. A few hellos, a few comments, but other than that, I think I got all the questions. Apologies if I didn't. But that's going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. I have another really, really busy week, so YouTube videos might be a little sparse, but I am not short of ideas. We have 2 more verses to get done before 6.2, and I have another video that I'm working on. I've already written out the whole script for it. I've started to gather footage for it. that I'm excited to make. It's going to be kind of a different one, almost weird that I would do this style of video, but it's going to be relevant to Final Fantasy XIV. Anyway, with that, thanks for watching. Oh, and Stranger of Paradise stuff this week, and maybe Live Alive stuff. At the very least on the VOD channel, we'll have Live Alive stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to ask questions in the comment section for next week's video, and I'll see you then. Like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and until then, take care.